Hey there, folks. Hello, Laura, Meiku, Oceana, Ms. Wicked Wolf. Hope everybody's doing well. What the heck is this? God, I hate that YouTube keeps adding additional features to this nonsense. Hey, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Hey there, Joel. So as folks trickle in, I will note that reminder to everyone that while I will try and keep up with the chat, the one thing that will guarantee that I respond to your question or comment will be to do it in the form of a super chat, which will also get you the little yay heart of appreciation, because I appreciate you. I mean, even if you don't throw money at me, I appreciate you anyway, but little gay heart of extra appreciation. Hey there, Coyote. Well, I hope you have fun at Disney World, Ms. Wicked Wolf. What time is it getting dark there these days? 5:30-ish. I mean, it depends on what you mean by getting dark, because the actual sunset was like at 6 o'clock. But, it starts getting dark before then, at least when you live in an area with mountains. Like, proper sunset is over the horizon, but the mountains are higher than the actual horizon. So, yeah, 5:30-ish. Yes, I'm aware, Ms. Wicked Wolf. I just filmed over there, and I didn't turn the LED lights off. Hello there from the Freedom North. No politics, but it starts with C. I don't think simply naming the country that you're from counts as overtly political, Tim, at least not in my book. Hey, Mr. Zaki Boy. Hey, Gabriel. I just read that YouTube is adding AI to YouTube Shorts without the YouTuber's consent or permission. Fontana wrote about it in a community note. Yeah, I saw about that a week or so ago. It's really unclear whose stuff it's happening to and if there's any rhyme or reason. But yeah, they are definitely putting some YouTubers' shorts through AI filters without telling them. That is absolutely a thing that is happening. And I strongly suspect as a way to normalize the weirdness that AI tends to look as they, roll out their own slop producing stuff to compete with Sora. Oh, God. I need to decide if I'm going to talk about that. I want to try and cram my thoughts down into a short because I really, really don't want to talk about Sora. God, it's so... Ugh. Drew Struzan passed. Oh, I missed that, Jason. Well, you'd be wrong, Ms. Wicked Wolf. It's tea. It is Lord Borgamont tea. I haven't had dinner yet, so I'm not doing alcoholic. So is it like a valley? I find it kind of claustrophobic where you don't see into the distance, only straight upwards. I mean, like, there are it's Vermont. You're either on a mountain or you're at the foot of a mountain. There isn't really a natural flat stretch of ground for more than like a quarter of a mile in Vermont. It's called the Green Mountain State for a reason. And there's a reason we call people who aren't from here flatlanders. So it's not strictly speaking a valley, but like there's nowhere in Vermont where there aren't mountains, at least in the distance. So Carowin's doing okay, Ms. Wicked Wolf. She just isn't doing the live streams these days. This will be the first winter I've gone through since I got sober. I'm a little worried because the winter definitely makes me more depressed. It makes many of us more depressed. Seasonal effectiveness disorder is very much a thing. Hey there, Nit. Good to see you. Just finished playing Fran Bow. That's it's an adventure game, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, it's that one. Yeah, I haven't played those, so I don't really know anything about them. God, I hate that his name Sora reminds me of Kingdom Hearts Sora. He didn't deserve that. I don't know. Sora in Kingdom Hearts kind of made himself the center of the frickin' universe, too. So as a writer and artist, I finally hit the limit of my AI tolerance. Disturbing, uncanny ads on shorts, and Sora just finally pushed me over the edge into anti-AI. Hey, if that's what gets you over there, that works for me, Jamie. I am at a point where, like, I've started actually unfriending people if they praise AI. Like, I try and remind myself. Not everyone is as plugged into all the problems with AI or are as good at spotting AI as people who are more aware of the issues are. So I don't automatically expect everyone to be as knowledgeable as I am about these things. So I have made a point to not unfriend people for simply like sharing or reposting like a meme that was AI generated, or like something that it seems like they think it's real and don't even realize. But I am at the point where people are like, this AI stuff is so cool. I'm like, I can't. I'm done. Go away. And I'm supposed to be clear, I say I've started unfriending people. These were people I was casual acquaintances with. This wasn't like, I'm not like cutting off close personal people in my life, but it is kind of like just freaking, I can't. That's it. Goodbye. Tea drinking tonight? Yes, tea drinking. Oh, of course I've had peppermint tea, Maiku. It's not my go-to. I like black teas, personally. But peppermint's nice. Late to the chat today, so don't know if it's been discussed. Robert Shearman has said in this month's Doctor Who magazine that the show is as dead as it has ever been. It's very strange to me anybody's taking that seriously, given that Rob Shearman has not worked on Doctor Who for like 20 years in any capacity. Like, don't get me wrong, I like Rob Shearman's work a lot. He's done some of the best Doctor Who Big Finish stuff, including my favorite one in that line that I've ever heard. But also, like, dude, don't talk like you've got the inside track, because you don't. Like, on the one hand, I get that people who are actually closer to the thing probably have an incentive to not be doom and gloomish about it. But at the same time, like, it annoys me that, and I don't know how Doctor Who magazine presented it, but it certainly annoys me that the discourse around him saying that has been like, oh, he would know. No, he wouldn't. And look, that's not me saying Doctor Who is not going to go on an extended break. I said it was. I said it was probably going to be 5 years. So, like, him saying that has zero alteration, in my opinion, other than being annoyed that people cite it like it's a big revelation that a dude who hasn't worked on anything Doctor Who related directly or peripherally in decades. Come on. Can't believe we're getting an Anaconda reboot with Jack Black. I like the original one with I'm gonna say J Lube. It's because I was seeing J Lo and Ice Cube, and my brain like mashed them up and made it J Lube. J Lo and Ice Cube just fine, but it isn't a movie I'm demanding gets a reboot. Well, yeah, but the fact that there isn't a reason to reboot it appears to be kind of the reason that they're doing it. It's like it's a meta reboot where, like, within the movie, the narrative is it's a couple of guys being like, we should remake Anaconda. And then the new Anaconda is about a bunch of guys who try to remake Anaconda and accidentally end up in a real Anaconda situation. It's like, quirky, meta, whatever, man. If that still does it for you, fine. I'm really kind of over that kind of meta stuff. I like the name Flatlander. Sounds super. I think that's only because you're used to hearing Homelander. For the Tea Fund. Oh, thank you, Samantha. I appreciate that very, very much. Every dollar helps. I need to start going to the farmers markets again and seeing what tea, because I've gotten some real good tea at farmers markets. But it's been a little while since I've gone tea hunting. Ian Watkins from Lost Prophets got killed in prison. I don't know who that is. I have no idea who that is, Jason. So, given that they were killed in prison, I'm going to assume not a great person. But I also have no idea. Let's see. More Bergam. I feel disgusted with myself that I ever touched ChatGPT, and I don't expect to be forgiven, but now I will continue to write in spite of AI. Look, Jamie, it's up. Some people take longer to get, to where they're ultimately going to land on this stuff. You don't have to beat yourself up for it. It's totally fine to apologize for, previous statements you don't stand by anymore. You don't have to put yourself up on the cross about it, though. What pushed me into anti-AI was the fake music. What pushed me into anti-AI was, the data scraping, regardless of what they made with it. That's what made me anti-AI. I don't want to say I was like first on that bandwagon, but I was on it early compared to a lot of people just because of how it was being made. I was already like, that's fucked. Hi, everyone. I sure hope you're having a much better day or month than me. Oh, Kura, I'm really sorry to hear that. I hope that your day, might be late for the day. I hope your month improves. Sincerely, I do hope that for you. I hate that Google search pushes AI results. Give me sources. Yeah, like this. I've talked about this before. They are putting it in as many things as possible because they want it to become something that we are A, used to, and B, ideally like. And so when the bubble starts to burst, we still won't be able to get rid of it. Or they're actually hoping that if they can inject it into enough things, it'll stop the bubble from bursting. Because it'll be like, look, it's in everything. Yeah. So was leaded gasoline once upon a time. We got rid of that too, though. I had to block a chat leader that told everyone how he uses AI friends on his channel now. What? Whoa. Yeesh. AI itself is not bad, but humans today have very little to no self-control and thus misuse. We aren't at the level Star Trek Voyager got to in that episode. The Doctor sued for his rights. Like, I'm not going to say you're wrong, Nit, but I am going to say that your argument has the same ring as guns don't kill people, people kill people. While that is technically true, the gun helps. And while, yes, the people who are using AI to gross ends are people who wanted to do that anyway, but we didn't have to make it easier for them. And we also didn't have to, and actually I would argue that at this point, especially with some of the stuff Sora is able to produce, it is innately bad because it erodes the confidence that people can have in their own frickin' eyes and their ability to trust anything that they see, that anything is real. I would argue that is innately, in and of itself, a bad thing. So even if I were going to capitulate on the idea that the technology isn't bad, but the way people use it are, to me, that's a distinction without a difference. Get rid of the technology, you solve either problem. Or at least you partly solve the problem and improve the other problem in that you remove the ease by which the worst people are using it. But I also am not capitulating that point. I do think that a lot of its implementations are innately bad. Especially when you factor the environmental damage into it. I do think it is an innately bad technology. But even if I were to concede on that, I still don't really truck with that argument. He only really said that we're stuck behind because we don't know where we stand for extended media of Doctor Who. Well, Big Finish has contracts for several more years, and I would expect, unless the BBC is very foolish, they will continue to renew that because it keeps the most dedicated fans active and involved. So unless the BBC does something really, really stupid, like not renew their agreement with Big Finish, then we're just in for another wilderness years. It's happened before. Granted, I wasn't a fan back when it happened before, but like, it's not a first time thing. Everyone says drink chamomile for stress, but it gives me indigestion. I remember there was a comic, Canadian comic named Elvira Kurt. I remember a bit she did once where she's like starting to get sick, and people, like, this was a while ago, but people are saying, "Oh, are you taking echinacea? Take echinacea. That's the thing. Echinacea helps. It's amazing." What the hell is echinacea? This stuff comes out of nowhere, and all of a sudden we're supposed to just drink it without asking questions. Oh, it's fine. It's herbal. Oh, it's herbal like hemlock. A history YouTuber I follow said he fired a writer over the fact he put an AI hallucination fact in a script draft and wouldn't admit to it when called out. That is an excellent reason to fire a writer. Absolutely. They did counterbalance it with that this is the personal opinion of Rob Shearman and not Doctor Who magazine. Well, yeah, but whether they put that in there or not, people are still wielding it like as fact, which, granted, is not Doctor Who magazine's fault, but still. I've seen AI videos of dead WWE wrestlers recently, and all of it's just gross. Yeah, every bit of it's gross. Like, here's the funny thing about Sora. In a way, Sora really does show how close the bubble is to bursting for a couple of reasons. The first is when they first launched the new version of Sora, their approach to copyright was an opt-out, meaning copyright and IP holders had to reach out to them and say, hey, you either can't use our stuff at all, or you can only use it in these specific ways. In a matter of days, they changed it to an opt-in, because shock of shocks, when they probably got calls from legions of lawyers from every major IP holder in the frickin' world, they probably realized really quick that, hey, it's totally fine if for us to steal and abuse copyright, we'll stop if you ask us to stop, wasn't actually going to hold up in court. So there was that. And then there's the fact that, at least as I understand it, I might need to look into this a little further, but at least as I understand it, Sora has launched basically as a social media platform. Like, it's trying to be TikTok with AI videos, which means they're running ads on it, which just shows how not profitable this tech is if they have to run ads. Like the old freaking version of social media that is already kind of floundering at this point. Like, oh boy, they are cooked, man. It's just a question of how much of the world at large is going to be made worse by all of this. But they are cooked. Coyote Azul, thank you very much for the super chat. Most frustrating video game you ever played? I don't know. Hold on, let me pull up. I mean, like, the honest answer is probably something that I rented back in the 90s and tried for 10 minutes and didn't like, is probably the real answer to that. But I cannot remember what any of those might have been. So let me check. On my Steam library, I have a Rage Quit folder. What do we got in here? Probably Inscription. Yeah. I'd say probably Inscription. Like, there's some others. Actually, I need to put Bear and Breakfast in that folder. Add that to the Rage Quit folder and take that out of the Cozy Games folder. There we go. Yeah, Rage Quit is Bear and Breakfast, Born Punk, Curse to Golf, Doctor Who, Edge of Reality. That one maybe. That one maybe. Oh, that's one of the worst I've ever played. That might be it. Inscription. Inscription was frustrating because it was amazing and then it stopped being amazing. Like Age Through Blood, that game's not bad. I just didn't gel with it. Octopath Traveler just pissed me off. Ori and the Blind Forest just pissed me off. They're not necessarily bad, but they rubbed me specifically very much the wrong way. Teslagrad, I hated the controls. Yeah, probably Doctor Who, Edge of Reality. Wow! Wow, that game sucked. That game sucked so bad. Oh my gosh. Oh. MTV has shut down all its channels. What? Like it's TV channels? Really? Wait a minute. What? Let me see. Oh. Huh. Dang. Oh, it's in the UK. Okay. Oh, okay. It's UK and Europe. There's no word yet on whether or not they are shutting down in the US. Although, like, they might. They could just keep, rolling down the list of places where they were broadcasting. Oh, I would say that's a shame. I'm not sure what the current state of MTV is, so maybe it isn't. Maybe it isn't a shame. Dharma, thank you for re-upping your YouTube membership. 46 months and 0 regrets. Here's to more. Thank you. I appreciate that. I've stopped using AI even to fix spelling and grammar because I don't like the slippery slope. I appreciate that. It's so frustrating because even things like basic spell checkers have had AI tools integrated into them. So it's like, I just want the spell checker that I was using 10 years ago. It's so frustrating. Frustrating? I started to say infuriating and then changed it to frustrating. I can talk. My word good. Good word night. Hello. Greeting for live tube on you. Homelander's not the only Lander word. Remember the Highlander movies? Yeah, which are getting a remake, which is gonna suck. Maybe it'll be good. I don't know. I have zero expectation. It's the 15th of October here in the UK, so I can now officially use the meme of Michael Palin's peasant in the Holy Grail. If I went round saying I was an emperor, just because some moistened binker lobbed a scimitar at me, they put me away. Now we see the violence inherent in the system. Come and see the violence inherent in the system. Help, I'm being repressed. What pushed me into anti-AI was watching a coworker demonstrate by having ChatGPT write a song for the scientific instrument I use in my job. Totally hollow and empty. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the really frustrating thing is anyone who knows anything about, like, the things that AI is being used for, especially in creative fields, they can recognize all the problems with it immediately. But people who aren't as knowledgeable, like, might hear an AI-generated song and think, oh, that's just as good, because they don't understand orchestration, or they just aren't delving deeply into it enough to pick it apart properly. But, it's like, for me, whenever I see AI visuals, they jump out at me almost immediately. And they don't for everybody. But depending on what you're attuned to, it can be really obvious and really infuriating that anybody thinks it can be a replacement for actual art or actual people. This is why I don't like the term AI. It gets people confused between things like the doctor and algorithmic stuff like LLMs. I agree, Gurkuman. Unfortunately, it's a term we're stuck with because it's the one in the zeitgeist and it's the one people are using. So it's one of those cases where I don't like the term either, but I'm kind of stuck using it so people know what I'm talking about, even though I am very quick to point out it's not actually AI and we shouldn't call it that, but I still do, because it eases communication. It's one of those things where you start calling it what it probably should be called, and people won't necessarily know what you're talking about, and it impedes communication about it. Better topic, what brand and color is that fabulous lipstick? This is... Actually, you know what? Give me a second. I'll grab it. Be right back. All right. This is Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink. This is my go-to brand and product, and this is Escapist, number 45. That is the shade. This is great. It's not good. If you have ever been in an intimate situation and either you or your partner has said something to the equivalent of, I want you to completely ruin my makeup, it's real bad for that, because holy cow, does it stay and not smear. Like, nothing. So if that's what you're into, it's not good. But anything else, it's good. Like, I'll eat and it'll still be fine. Latest news has persons excited about lost episodes of Doctor Who. I'd seen something about that, Eastland. I hadn't looked into it, like, as to what lost episodes were supposedly found or whatnot. Most of the things that I saw were like that they did that thing where there was a question mark at the end of it, like lost episodes found. And when it's a question mark, I'm like, when, like, when it's definitive and you can say it with an exclamation point instead of a question mark, maybe I'll look into it. So I haven't actually looked into it all that much. Not enough hemlock jokes these days. I would like it's herbal like hemlock on a t-shirt, please, if you can. Well, I can't. It's not my joke. Go see if Elvira Kurt ever put it on a t-shirt. The fact that AI is so dangerously resource intensive actually makes me somewhat optimistic about getting rid of a lot of it. If it was cheaper, it'd be more durable. I mean, yeah, except, you know, there's a lot of inefficient stuff that we still keep around because various forces insist that we do. So I expect it to die. I expect it to crash, but like it's going to do a lot of damage until it does. And the tech industry is going to kick and scream every step of the way. Thank you for the super chat, Dharma. Dharma has a new boyfriend. Congratulations. New relationship energy. It's a thing. Enjoy it. I feel like we're reaching a point where technological progress is slowing down because it's reaching bottlenecks. If tech is to progress now, we really need the next breakthrough in energy production. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like, it really ticks me off when tech evangelists are all about, oh, but it keeps getting better and that's exponential. No, it's not. It bottlenecks and or plateaus. Hank Green had an interesting video a month or so back talking about why AA batteries haven't gotten any better, because for the size and voltage that they are, you actually cannot make them any more efficient than they already are, at least not at a reasonable price. It's just physically impossible. Like, stuff doesn't get exponentially better. Everything has limiting factors for one reason or another. And anytime anybody tells you anything that includes the phrase, if these trends continue, or some equivalent thereof, they are full of crap. If these trends continue is such a loaded and obscuring phrase, especially if you don't accompany it with information as to why they will or won't. Does anyone remember Anaconda's The Hunt for the Blood Orchid, the sequel to the original Anaconda? I do remember that it existed. I have seen that name before. Yeah. Never saw it. I actually have not even seen the original Anaconda all the way through. Just seen bits and pieces. But there's a Doctor Who platformer from 1986. Would you ever try that on stream? Probably not, because I'm going to assume it's not on Steam, and I don't like messing around with emulators and stuff like that. I'm a low key tech jinx, and when I tinker with that stuff, it breaks things in ways that whenever I try and get help for, the response I always get from more tech literate people than me is always, well, it shouldn't do that. Okay, but it did. So yeah, no, I don't mess with that. And that's my tea all gone. That's the tea, sis. That's the tea. This is actually high quality tea and high quality bag, so I'll actually dry that out and get a second cup out of it. I don't do that with all tea. A lot of it, like, it's not worth doing. But this brand, this is, what is this? Smith Tea Maker. They're good. At least their tea is. Maybe there's something horrible about the company I don't know. There's a shocking number of tea companies that are run by cults. So maybe I shouldn't be shouting them out. I don't know. Oh boy, oh boy. Would AI write a better Doctor Who episode than the Idiot's Lantern? I mean, I feel like that's a leading and or loaded question, Mr. Zaki Boy. Here's what I will say. The problems that would result from an AI trying to write Doctor Who would not be the same kind of problems as what appeared in the Idiot's Lantern, most likely. So, would it be better? Depends on what metric you're going by. Would it be good? Absolutely goddamn fucking not. Did you see 28 Years Later? Nope, I have not seen it. When it hits streaming eventually, I might, but no, I haven't seen it yet. Once saw a clickbait study claiming AI is better than Shakespeare because 86% of people think AI poems are better than Shakespeare. Dumb, even if it was true, which I suspect it's not. Yeah, I suspect that is fudge data. And yeah, like that. Asking the average person who doesn't like, okay, this is not me saying the masses are dumb, but Shakespeare does require a certain mindset and base level of understanding to appreciate it. A lot of Shakespeare, unless filtered through an update of language or things like that, is not accessible to the average person. It just isn't. So if you ask the average people, is this 500 or however many years old writing, is this better than this thing that is more identifiably to your eyes a poem? Like, that is such a loaded and mouse-shaped question in the first place. It's ridiculous. I'm going to sound like a hipster, but my mom got me a typewriter for my 15th birthday almost 10 years ago, and I've been using it for my first drafts ever since. I appreciate typewriters. Like, I have a mechanical keyboard, and I like the clickety clack nature of it. You will not find me using an actual typewriter though. Wow, nearly 30 minutes talking about AI crap. It comes up, Coyote. It's unfortunately hard to miss. What about Moore's Law? I think that's what people are referring to when they just confidently assert stuff like AI will get better forever. I'm trying to remember Moore's Law. What is that one? Moore's Law is the observation that the number of transistors on an integrated circuit doubles approximately every 2 years, resulting in corresponding... Oh. Yeah, like, again, Moore's Law is not accurate. Like, it is a general trend, but again, at a certain point, it is going to run against the limitations of reality. I don't know what that point is. I am not a computer scientist, but, you know. I'm going to have to pop over to the Discord in just a moment. Just going to check something real quick. I'm going to call bollocks on the latest Voldemort casting rumor. If it turns out to be true, that will be casting that hurts most of all. Don't even know what it is, Rowan, and don't care. So forgive me for moving on immediately from that. Okay, so popping on to the Discord. Reminder, Council of Geeks Discord is a Patreon perk for folks at the $2 membership and above. And let's see, I'll try and get through these quickly. You like the way Dean Stockwell's character was initially presented in Battlestar Galactica. Like the priest character who says that God doesn't respond to prayers and gives practical advice. I tend to enjoy characters like that too, but do you ever get the impression they're a result of atheist-leaning writers assuming a good religious leader would be one who doesn't actually put importance on the religion because they don't value religion? Like they're trying to be respectful to religious people by depicting one in a good light, but arguably inadvertently undermining it by implying they be a good religious person by not really being very religious at all. I think that is a case-by-case situation, 255. I think depictions like that have the potential to do that. And I don't know, like, there's stuff that we find out about that character pretty soon after he's introduced that kind of puts him in a different light almost immediately. So I'll be curious to see where they go through from that. But like, I have definitely seen cases where there are religious leader characters who are very practical and grounded and pragmatic, but who still make it clear the ways in which faith informs them, their life, their morality, and their advice to other people. There is a way to balance that. Not everything does. Section 31, yeah, from Star Trek. Even if that thing had been good, does it kind of defeat the point of Star Trek? To make a Star Trek thing that undermines the principle of the franchise? Well, okay. So I haven't seen Section 31. There's a fundamental flaw in the very premise of the movie, which basically was like, hey, what if space CIA was cool and awesome? But it's not. The entire point of Section 31, when it came up in Star Trek prior to that, was this is bad and terrible and shouldn't exist. So the very fact that they tried to make a movie out of that was an innately awful thing because, yeah, it not only undermines the franchise, it undermines the point of that specific aspect of the franchise. It was a terrible idea. Moving on. There was one culture novel I'd not read because the premise never appealed to me much. Recently, I decided to read it just for the sake of completionism. Completionism is a heck of a thing. I enjoyed it much more than I expected, and when it ended, I stared into space and thought, I'll never get to experience another culture novel for the first time again. That hit me really hard. Have you ever had a moment like that after finishing a completed series you really love? Yeah, but it wasn't when I completed it. It was when Douglas Adams passed away. Like, I'd already read Mostly Harmless by that point, and when he passed away, part of the realization was I'm never going to get to read another Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy book. I'm never going to get to read another Dirk Gently book. I'm never going to get to read anything else from him ever again. There will never be new Douglas Adams. And like, there was new Guardians of the Galaxy, technically. And it wasn't bad. It was okay. But yeah, that was the one that hit me because I really, really adored. I still adore Douglas Adams. I think he's still my my comfort writer. Like if I legit just need to zone out and need comfort, I will fire up the audiobooks that I have where he read the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy books. They're so good. It was so good. Since my birthday happens to be the same day that the Doctor defeated the sentient cactus Meglos, 45 this Saturday, which enemy of the Doctor do you consider the weirdest? I still haven't seen Meglos. Honestly, I think conceptually, and apologies, I know the issues with the writer of this episode, but it's what's leaping to mind anyway. House from the Doctor's wife leaps to mind. A sentient trash ball that can reanimate people and mess with your head and eats TARDISes. I think that's definitely up there. That's up there with the weirdest stuff Doctor Who ever did. What does having a cute pangolin girl in your dreams after a car wreck mean? So wait, was the car wreck real, but the girl was in your dreams? Or was the car wreck in your dream and the pangolin girl was after the dream wreck and still in the same dream? I don't know either way. I am not into dream analysis. I could not begin to tell you. Maybe it means you're a furry. I don't know. And maybe you already knew that. So I don't know. I don't know either way. Also, 3 years since I asked this, I know, but have you considered reading Order of the Black Dog? It's basically furry Lovecraft meets X-Files, if I remember correctly. No, just because, like, there's very little that's on my to, I hope to get to this someday docket. That isn't stuff that is in my backlog of commissioned reviews, or stuff that I intend to take in for work. Especially if it's reading. Like I don't have the time. Pretty much any reading I take in at this point is through audiobooks. It's kind of all and I'll do that in the car on when I have longer drives. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? A woodchuck would chuck as much wood as a woodchuck could chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood. If hindsight is 20/20, what does that make foresight? Just a view of your own ass. If a tree falls in the forest and no one is there, will a grouchy neighbor complain about it? Yes, grouchy neighbors complain about everything. How did your show on Friday go? It went well, Jen. Thank you. Yes, I hosted a burlesque show in Winooski, Vermont on Friday. I hosted Untapped, a night of drag and burlesque. I hosted and performed one number. And yeah, I had a lot of fun. We had good turnout, which was nice. Turnout at shows has been a little bit up and down lately. We had a good turnout. It was a really energetic crowd. So yeah, that show went really well. Favorite kind of chocolate depends on my mood and depends on whether it's paired with anything. Because I tend to like dark chocolate, but not by itself. I tend to like dark chocolate when it's with other stuff. So like if something is chocolate coated, I tend to like dark chocolate for that. But like just straightforward, like just eat a piece of chocolate. Honestly, probably white chocolate, which I know is technically not chocolate, but whatever. Remind again, what is the best way to stay warm during the autumn evenings? A fire, if you have the means to do so. Otherwise, another person's body warmth under a blanket, skin to skin contact. I find that works very well. If you were only able to experience one form of media for the rest of your life, movies, TV, music, books, video games, or theater, which would you choose and why? I don't think my brain will let me engage with this question. Just it's one of those questions where like I'm trying, but like immediately in the back of my head it's screaming at me, yeah, but that's never going to happen. Why are you wasting time trying to think about this? This is why I am real bad at hypotheticals in general. Because my brain's going, yeah, but that won't happen. So why are you making me answer that? And that's not a problem with you. It's my brain. I don't know. I don't know. I can't. My brain isn't going to let me tonight. Do you think the next season of Doctor Who should be named Season 1, Series 16, or something else? I think the next season of Doctor Who should be called, what would it be? Season 46? Yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with the proper legacy numbering. Throw everybody off. Do 2.5D games with 3D graphics constrained to a 2D plane trigger your motion sickness the way full 3D games do? No. No, they don't. Because it's not 3D graphics themselves that trigger my motion sickness. It's the camera moving through 3D space that triggers my motion sickness. So 3D graphics on a 2D plane I sometimes find ugly as a design aesthetic, but that does not set off my motion sickness. It is cameras moving through 3D space that sets off my motion sickness in video games. And I actually picked up Little Nightmares on sale a little while ago. I might run a poll because I need to finish Night in the Woods first. But after that, I picked up both Little Nightmares and I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream on sale. I might do a poll to see which of those I should do for the latter half of October. And normally I don't engage with questions that were submitted after the stream started, but I will just say really quickly, Bailey, happy birthday tomorrow. Have a happy birthday tomorrow. All right, what do we got? Elijah, we got new super chat. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Happy Halloween. Much love from Boise. I don't know why I said Boise like it was Joyzy. I don't know why I did that, but I did it. I did a thing. And now I'm stuck in this voice. How do I get out of it? I don't know. I'm just down at the shore in Joyzy. What's your annual Halloween movie? One that you watch every year? I'm not sure I have a fixed Halloween movie. I have specials that I am sure to watch every year. I make certain that I watch It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, Halloween is Grinch Night, Garfield Halloween, and the When Halloween Was Forever episode of The Real Ghostbusters. Those 4 are my must-views every year. Other than that, it's fluid with what I may or may not get to. There's some stuff that I'm trying to get to this month. We'll see if it happens. Most of it's stuff that I haven't seen yet. One that I pretty much always mean to watch, but do not always find the time for, is Over the Garden Wall. Although that isn't specifically Halloween, that is more autumnal in general. So that one's still okay to watch like in November. I mean, not that you have to watch something when it's in season, but, you know, in terms of appropriateness. What is your opinion on FE38? What the hell is that? FE3H. Fire Emblem 3 Houses? I assume that's what that stands for. I have none. I've never played it. Like people, I know some of you know this, like, don't use abbreviations and acronyms. I'm real bad with them. Let's see. In France, they used to 70% dark chocolate peanut M&Ms. They were so good, and now they're gone. Oh, that's a shame. White chocolate isn't technically chocolate. Can I keep pretending it is? Hey, do whatever you want, Dermot. I can't stop you. I believe the way that AI versus Shakespeare study worked was they just shoved poems in front of people and gave them a few minutes to read and judge which they prefer. Yeah, and they probably preferred the ones they understood. Like, that's not hard to parse. What's your opinion of the upcoming Hunt for Gollum? Oh, I forgot that was a thing that existed. That sounds fucking terrible. Absolutely atrocious. Supreme Omega! Thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate it greatly. You have softened on Hellbent quite a bit because there was a time you were really negative towards it. Is it because the Chibnall era was more disappointing? No. I think it's just because I have come to accept that there is something about Hellbent that I don't get. There is something going on with it that Moffat is either doing or trying to do that I don't understand what it is. There is something about it where I don't understand what he's going for, or I don't understand the reasons why he's going for it, and I feel like fundamentally I'm missing something. And while that is frustrating, I don't think that is worth my anger as much as I used to. Like, you go back 10 years, I was like furious at that episode. But these days, like, it's not worth that much of my... Was it 10 years ago? When was Hellbent? Now I'm curious. Series 12. Yeah! It'll be 10 years ago this December. Damn! Oh, I was right on the money. But anyways, like, it is baffling to me, and it will always be baffling, and I will never think it's good, but it isn't worth my anger the way somebody who definitely should have known better. You know what I mean? Like, that is why some of Chibnall's choices and something like The Idiot's Lantern make me actively angry, because it's not a matter of I don't understand what you were doing. It's a matter of I'm not sure even you understood what you were doing, or you should have realized that what you were doing was an awful thing to do. Whereas Hellbent is just confusing. It is deeply baffling to me. But that does at least make it more interesting to talk about. I think that AI was told to emulate Shakespeare's style, so they were saying this AI writes Shakespeare better than Shakespeare, which is an inherently nonsensical claim. Yeah, that's an absolutely absurd claim. The Collect Call of Cthulhu episode of Real Ghostbusters was good. That was pretty good. It's like, that's probably my top 10. It's not up there at the very top though. Like my absolute favorite episodes of that show are let me think. When Halloween Was Forever, Mr. Sandman Dream Me a Dream, Citizen Slimer. Those are the big three. Those are the top three for sure. And yeah, I'll just go with that for like what I think are the very best. I think the RTD2 era may have frustrated her more, but Timeless Children is also on her bad list. I mean, the thing is, like, I am more just disappointed with RTD because I wanted him to, move forward and not just slip back into his habits from 2005, which is exactly what he did. But also, as soon as I realized that was what he was doing, my expectations dropped and I was not nearly as angered by the end of God Was Run as a lot of people were. Why do Doctor Who finales so rarely stick the landing, and what makes the good ones work? Well, part of it is the mystery box format, which is a garbage format. I'm sorry, it is. I really honestly think that the entire mystery box format that Doctor Who uses is rarely good, and Doctor Who itself has almost never used it well. So that's part of the problem. But the really good ones tend to deal with that kind of stuff minimally, if at all. So, like, to me, the best finale is The Doctor Falls, and it's not even close. But the ones that really zero in and focus on the characters and don't get bogged down in lore drops and connections to the past and it being like this huge, big, massive, the universe isn't it. The ones that do that as little as possible are the best ones. Doomsday is really good because while it does have very raised stakes, it knows to pivot on the emotional impact of the finale, of the splitting up of the Doctor and Rose. That's why that one works really well. Parts of Journey's End worked really well. Journey's End is very self-indulgent, but again, it does at least know to focus on the people and the emotions there. This was a problem with a lot of Moffat's finales because a lot of them felt more like exercises in trying to untangle the plot. That's why I don't like The Big Bang very much. And that's an even bigger problem in, The Wedding of River Song, which is just a complete mess. Name of the Doctor's okay. But then like you get into the other ones and Death in Heaven is okay because again it does at least circle back onto the emotional stuff. Hellbent's just a mess. And then like the Doctor Falls is a shockingly small scale threat for a Doctor Who finale. And it works so much better. So many of those finales feel the need to like up the threat as much as possible. And it's to the detriment of the story. It always is. Do you have a least favorite Slay the Spire enemy or mini boss? I can't stand the worm avocado thing in Act 2 and the green spaghetti monster in Act 3. It's actually I've been off Slay the Spire long enough that I don't think there was a boss or a mini boss that really ticked me off. There was just some of the decks really annoyed me. Like the one that it took me forever to beat the game with. Hang on, Again, it's been a while since I played it. So where do I have that in Slay the Spire? I have that under strategy games. I guess that makes sense. Like the one that took me forever to beat the game with. Let me find it. Which one was it? It was the Defect. It took me forever to beat the game with the defect. And I just didn't like that deck and the way that it worked. I don't remember being super annoyed at the bosses, because generally if I got to a boss and got taken apart, I got more annoyed that I was stuck with the deck that I couldn't figure out how to make it work than I was annoyed at the boss itself, if that makes sense. We are going to be wrapping it up in a few minutes. It was hilarious with Hellbent ended up at the middle of your finale rank a while back. Yeah, there have definitely been worse finales. And again, like, I can't be nearly as mad at something that just confuses me versus something where I look at what it did and it's just like, on what planet would you think that is a good idea? Which is where I was left with a fair amount of Chibnall's stuff, and some of the, some of RTD's stuff, especially his second go, and even some of Moffat's stuff. But like Hellbent, it baffles me, but it is like, I accept that I don't get it, and I understand that's part of the problem. But I was asking you about Section 31 earlier. How do you feel about the culture novels very heavily leaning into the idea that the utopia only works because of special circumstances? That I don't have a problem with, because that's there from basically the beginning of that franchise. That, at least as I have experienced the culture novels, it never really pretends to be a society in which that is not a factor. Whereas Star Trek is meant to be more aspirational for humans as we are now. And so when you do this thing where you imply, oh, that wonderful socialist post-capitalism utopia that you love so much can only be sustained through these horrible actions of a shady organization, that has a degree of cynicism that I don't think is innate in the culture, because the culture is not, strictly speaking, humanity. And it also, again, introduced that idea immediately, more or less, or pretty close to immediately. All right. Thank you, the Gurkuman. Thank you very much for the super chat. As much as I see flaws in Timeless Children, both as an episode and lore change, I wasn't upset about it because Chibs meant it as adoption representation. Okay. To see yourself represented in any way can be affirming for some. And I am not going to diminish that for anybody. That being said, speaking personally, if you give me a piece of representation for something that I am and feels underrepresented, I don't care if you couch it in a bad story, I'm not going to praise you for the representation. It doesn't necessarily make the representation bad in and of itself, but like, you don't get points for me that offset all the narrative problems. That's because like I'm a writing person first. I'm a story person first. I'm a script person first. There's a reason why the majority of what I either criticize or praise with any given piece of work, even a visual medium like TV or film, tends to be the writing, because that's where my focus is. And if you have a disaster of a story that has nice representation that I don't often see, okay, that's nice. I don't care because your story's borked. The reality war just hurt me deeply, and it's made worse with the fact that we have to stew on this for who knows how long, because we don't know when new Doctor Who is coming back. I don't have to stew on it at all. I shrug and I move on. Stewing is an option. It's a choice. You don't have to stew. To be clear, I am not adopted, so my opinion means less than the adopted people who dislike the episode. See, I kind of did make an assumption that you yourself were adopted because I don't want to project. I'm not adopted, and I'm not. The adoption is not a part of my life in any real fashion, other than pets. So I don't feel particularly keen to weigh in. What I will say is, I would be curious if a person who was adopted felt that was any kind of positive representation, when the woman who adopted the doctor subjected them, I guess, because they kept changing gender, especially early on, subjected them to experimentation. Like, that's kind of why I don't even think of it as adoption representation at all, honestly. But again, not my place to say. Not really my place to say. Coyote Azul, back again. Thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate that immensely. The TTRPG Lancer said it best. Utopia is not a place, it's a verb. A better world requires work. Interesting. I hadn't heard that before. I like it. It has currently been rumored that Tilda Swinton is playing Voldemort, and I'm appalled. She's a good... Like, this is like the third rumored person, though. Like, it was going to be Cillian Murphy before. Like, this is why I don't deal in rumors. And this is why I especially don't form an opinion around rumors 99.9% of the time. Because, very simply put, it's not worth my emotional energy to get worked up for either being excited or upset over something that isn't even confirmed yet. So, like, I have no opinion until casting is finalized, because this is like their third or fourth rumored big name for Voldemort, and they've all failed to go anywhere. So to hell with it. What are your thoughts on Lily Tino's resurgence? Didn't know she'd resurged and don't care. I have no opinion. I have no opinion that I desire to share on Lily Tino. My recommendation is to ignore her, and that is the only thing that I will say on any of that. Anyways. My dad is going to play Voldemort, but we're all trying to talk him out of it. Anyways, we are over time, so I am going to wrap it up. Thank you all very much for joining me. So I'm going to be streaming what might be my last time streaming Night in the Woods on my secondary channel, Break Room of Geeks. I'll be streaming that tomorrow at 12:30 p.m., noon 30 Eastern Time. And in addition to that, there will be more stuff coming out in the break room. Saturday's video is likely going to be another look at YouTuber apologies and what circumstances can happen where an apology can't fix the situation. I'll leave it at that. I actually just shot it earlier, so I got to edit that tomorrow. Who's Lily Tino? Why is she bad? Enjoy your ignorance, Mr. Zaki boy. Do not look into it. She is not worth the attention. Like, she's not. She is legitimately not worth your time to find out who she is. If you do not know who Lily Tino is, consider yourself blessed and move on with your life. So anyways, that'll wrap it up. That's what's coming Saturday. I will hopefully have that video in early access for YouTube members and Patreon supporters by Thursday. I know I've been cutting it close and we haven't had the same amount of time for early access that I like to have with things. I do apologize for that. I'm trying to get ahead. I had a plan for how to get ahead, but that is backfired on me, and I'm now trying to sort some stuff out in regards to that. I don't want to get into it. But anyways, that is what is coming up. Thank you all for joining me. You are all very lovely people, and I appreciate you. So please take care of yourselves, be well, be safe, and be kind. And remember that you are beautiful, you are valid, and you are loved. You are the council. I am just running the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned. McCavity!